How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to Iceberg Explanation. The iceberg on today's entree is the cryptid iceberg by Reddit user KidCoolNonLemur. Without further ado, let's sit back, relax, and let's get started. Bigfoot. Many of you already know who our man Bigfoot is. He's our well-known Sasquatch friend who's no need of an introduction. Bigfoot, or what I like to call them plurally, Big Feet, they're known to inhabit the forests of North America and a little bit of other parts of the world, but mainly North America. And they play a huge part of our little pop culture thing that we have going on here. The man's got his own figurine, TV shows, video games, you fucking name it, man. Bigfoot's got everything. I wouldn't be surprised if he has his own house in Beverly Hills somewhere in California. Bigfoot is described as a tall, hairy man-ape, about the size of about a bear, maybe on its hind legs. The most famous sighting of Bigfoot is the one with him in that little walking pose in the black and white picture of him in the woods. Yeah, that picture was taken by this guy named Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson. And apparently they said they were hiking in the woods in Bluff Creek, Northern California, when they happened to stumble upon a Bigfoot in the wild. Now, as we all know, this is fake. They claim that they had a camera conveniently placed on them. And this was back in 1967. And ever since then, before it was debunked, people actually thought that was real. I mean, hey, there could be a Bigfoot out there, you know? We don't really know. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit that existed back then, like the prehistoric age of the Earth. So we really don't know. Next up on our list is the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster, most commonly known as the Nessie to Scottish people if you're from Scotland. So this folklore creature dates back to the year 565 and is said to inhabit Lake Loch Ness. Also, did you know that Loch means lake? You can kind of hear it in Loch Ness, now if you say it. But anyway, it's in the Scottish Highlands. It's described to be a large dinosaur brontosaurus sea reptile thing. It's most likely an old prehistoric dinosaur that lives in the lake. Has little humps that stick out above the water, but if you watch Phineas and Ferb, you'd already know that most of the pictures of Nessie is just driftwood and the sighting, so you don't really got to worry about it when you go swimming. The Yetis are the frosty boy Sasquatches, the Clash of Clans guys that you can use, and he'll throw the little things. They're kind of like boulders, but not really. They live in the Himalayan mountains, in Asia, and other various ranges of North America. These abominable snowmen terrorize any mountain climbers that stumble upon his den. He eats people, so you gotta be careful when you go hiking in the Himalayas because you don't want to stumble upon the Yeti. Just like their Bigfoot counterparts, the Yeti's a tall bipedal ape-like creature, but their fur coats are the color white. Kind of like bears, but polar bears, and they eat people. Polar bears would actually eat someone too if they're hungry. Any animal, right, would actually eat anyone if they were hungry enough. True shit. Up next is the sea serpent. The sea serpent is a sort of sea dragon, kind of like a sea dragon mixed with this massive eel and a sea snake, and it's said to inhabit the very deep waters of the earth, appearing in various mythologies and posing several different names such as Jormungandr, Hydra, and Leviathan. This mystical beast is one of the many monstrous entities that brave mariners of the past feared, and some even devoted their lives to hunting and killing these things. Many ask, did they succeed? Up next, the Kraken, another nightmare of the deep, pretty scary. And if you've ever explored enough of the internet, you'd also find them there as well. The Kraken is a giant octopus most appearing in Scandinavian folklore, and that mini Easter egg in Assassin's Creed 2 if you know what I'm talking about. The Kraken is said to dwell the coast of Norway and Greenland, terrorizing the sailors of the seas. Up next is aliens. Now, aliens have been around for quite a while now. What can be out there in the stars? Is it intelligent life in the distant galaxies similar to nature and how we are? Or is it just different interpretations of animal things, like the shit in No Man's Sky, or weird biological plant life, or some crazy shit we can't really imagine yet because we haven't seen it? There's many different interpretations of man interacting with alien life, spanning from video games, several science fiction books, movies, and TV series, and many of which foretelling the unpleasant interactions. But what about the IRL encounters that have been notably more and more frequent lately, leading to the CIA hinting to the existence of the extraterrestrial life, and Israel mentioned something of joining the Galactic Space Force. Now, in the past, mentioning things like extraterrestrial life to people would make you seem kinda crazy. But this plans a question. If the news is suddenly confirming the existence of aliens, what else is actually going on in the world that they're trying to distract us from? Drop bear. Never hearing this before. I actually had to do a little bit of research because most, top layers kind of like surface level information. It turns out the drop bear is from our Australian friends, is a mythical man-eating koala bear that hangs above their unsuspecting victims on trees and drops down on the target when the time to strike is near. It is said that the drop bear can drop on their prey from about 45 meters at a velocity of 104 kilometers an hour. That's about 145 feet up and 65 miles per hour for our American metric system friends. So basically imagine a little fairy mech dropping on your head and then proceeding to eat your face off. That's basically what's going to happen. The jackalope. The legendary jackrabbit with buck antlers. The jackalope is said to live in the forests of North America. There are plenty of fake taxidermies that exist of these things. These creatures have plenty of references in video games and a few movies. And, oh yeah, those hunting games, like the ones at Walmart and shit, and those arcade cabinets that you go and play. Champ. A champ is a mystical dinosaur-like creature, similar to Nessie, but this is in Lake Chamberlain, right here in the United States. There's a bunch of tourist attractions around the area and a few photoshopped images of so-called sightings, but it's just an American-Canadian cash grab to get your bucks. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Sorry. The Mothman is a creature of West Virginia folklore. Its first sighting was by a married couple. They claimed they were walking in the woods and they saw a large creature with wings and glowing eyes. The newspaper released on November 6, 1966, also about this so-called Mothman encounter, helped the story spread across the United States. The Chupacabra. First sighted in Puerto Rico in 1995, the vampiric Chupacabra is said to hunt down livestock, especially goats, drinking their blood and resulting to the life of livestock, obviously. The Spanish translation for the name Chupacabra is said to literally mean goat sucker. I can name a few of those. The Jersey Devil. The flying bipedal Jersey Devil is said to stalk the mountains of Pine Barren Mountains in New Jersey. As stated before, it's a bipedal goat-like creature with a hunch similar to a kangaroo, sporting bat wings and a forked tail. According to popular folklore, the Jersey Devil originated within Pine Barrens. Resident name Jane Leeds, known as Mother Leeds. The living legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children, and after finding out she was pregnant for the 13th time, cursed the child in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil. In 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor on a stormy night. While her friends gathered around her, born as a normal child, the 13th child changed to a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. Growling and screaming, it beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. Never to be seen. Kappa. The Ninja Turtles of Japanese myth, Kappas are a type of yokai that look amphibious in nature, similar to a turtle wearing a little dish of water on his head. And apparently they love cucumbers and sumo wrestling. But you might have played, I forget his name, but you might have played the god in Smite. Yeah, that's a Kappa. The Dover Demon. On April 21st, 1977, 17-year-old William Bartlett and his two friends were driving one night on Farm Street, Massachusetts, when they seen climbing over a stone wall a large gray creature with large glowing eyes and tendril-like fingers. After fleeing the scene, one of the boys drew an illustration, and William Bartlett even went the extra mile and swore on the Bible that he saw exactly what the drawing showed. The Flatwoods Monster. If you sat through Fallout 76 enough, you may have had an encounter with the game's interpretation of this creature, the famous Flatwood Monster of good old West Virginia. On September 12, 1952 at approximately 7:15 p.m., brothers Edward and Fred and a few of their other friends reported seeing a bright object across the sky and a land near a local farm. Upon further investigation, they claimed they seen a tall man-like figure with a round red face, surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape. Years later, investigators later concluded that the light was a meteor and the figure was a barn owl perched up in a tree, and the light in the sky was casting the owl's shadow to be bigger than what it was. Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a legendary bird depicted in many different forms of art in Native American culture. The Thunderbird is said to be able to create thunder by flapping its wings and summon lightning by flashing its eyes. Akali Lake Monster. Also known as the Walgreen Monster, or the Walgren Monster, my apologies, is another aquatic cryptid said to inhabit Walgren Lake near Hay Springs, Nebraska. I never knew just how many lake cryptids existed, to be honest with you. I always just thought there was the Loch Ness Monster, and pretty much that was it, but I guess there's a whole bunch more. You know, now that poses the question, actually. Which lake doesn't have a scary monster living inside of it? Now you gotta be careful when you go swimming. The Corfu Island Creature. A strange creature was sighted off the coast of Greece by tourists named the Corfu Island Creature, or the Grecian Dolphin. The original picture was posted on Twitter, and many speculated that this mysterious creature could be a dolphin mutated due to nuclear waste being dumped into the waters, which may actually be plausible. Others dismiss the image as a hoax. But one thing is certain. There's one thing Fallout told us, is that war never changes. But other than that, nothing good comes from animals and nuclear radiation. The Mongolian deathworm. Allegedly burrowing under the sands of the Gobi Desert, the Mongolian deathworm is a giant sandworm that lurks deep under the sand, waiting to emerge and attack its prey. First brought to mainstream attention in 1926, on the trail of ancient man, several expeditions took place after the book's release to provide the existence of the so-called deathworm. Was it true? Don't know, cause I didn't read it, so. The Lechuza. It may look like an ordinary owl at first, but in all actuality, it's a 7-foot tall owl lady ready to maul you at any slight move. The Lechuza is a creepy bird creature of Mexican folklore. Apparently there was a lady who practiced devil magic and the townsfolk weren't too fond of that, so they tried to kill her and she turned into the creature they call a Lechuza. Pretty simple. They learned that the creature can shapeshift into a regular inconspicuous owl and even a woman, but its true form was a giant owl with a woman's face. Yeah, have fun sleeping with that in your mind now. The Tikaloche. The Tikaloche is a water dwarf, told in the stories of the Zulu mythos. It's said that the Tikaloche are mischievous, evil spirits that can be called upon by humans to cause trouble for others. It is also said they can turn invisible by ingesting water or stone. Yowie. A Yowie is an Australian folklore entity that is said to be half man, half ape, similar to the Sasquatch, but this Bigfoot lives in the good old outback. So, Orang Pendek. The Orang Pendek, or Pendek, is a creature said to inhabit the landscapes of Sumatra, Indonesia, and Southeast Asia. The animal allegedly has been seen and documented for the past 100 years by locals and Dutch colonists. You'd honestly be surprised what old colonists have documented what they seen from giants and shit like that. You should look it up, it's pretty interesting actually. The Loveland Frog. Coming in at a whopping 4 feet tall, this legendary frog is said to have been spotted in Loveland, Ohio, and was first seen back in 1976 when a local police officer reported that he had seen an animal consistent with accurate depictions of a frogman. The Congo mardos are large predator-like cryptid living creatures in semi-tropical regions of Africa, particularly in Zambia, the Congo, and Angola. It resembles a whole bunch of folklore flying monsters. Its name means breaker of boats, or overturner of boats, as the Congomados are said to have capsized the canoes of natives and attacked people who venture too close to the nearby rivers. It is described to be a reddish lizard with membranous wings and teeth in its beak. Its wingspan ranges from 4 to 100 feet. There are several historic reports of European explorers being attacked by large winged creatures, and quite often people were reported to have received wounds from the Congomados. It is thought to eat mostly fish, but occasionally it will eat a person, just like any other animal. It will eat you, even your dog. And yes, the goldfish. Wendigo. The Wendigo is an evil spirit that is mentioned by several Native American tribes. It is most commonly noted that humans overpowered by greed could turn into Wendigos. In other words, cannibalism, if you eat another person, can result in turning into a scary, bloodthirsty monster. Almas. Another Bigfoot creeping around the Mongolian mountain area. Honestly, with all these Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster sightings going on around the world, how has anyone not considered these things to be real yet? Or how has there not been a clear picture or drawing of one yet, if there's so many of them? These questions need answers. Umibozu. Many sailors have plenty stories to tell after exploring the mystery that is the open seas. Japanese sailormen have told of a creature called an Umibozu that is a yokai that is said to haunt sailors with a facade of calm seas, but quickly turning them violent. Dobarchu. The Dobarchu is a massive sea otter, like the thing from Penguins of Madagascar, that terrorizes the water of potato-loving Ireland. It is a creature that is said to resemble an otter, but is about 5 times larger, coming in about 10 to 15 feet, with a white pelt and black-tipped ears and a black cross on its back. Yeah, it's an angel of death. The Tsuchiniko, a chonky snake that is to lurk the deep, watery caves of Shikoku and Honshu, some areas of Japan. With the name Tsuchinoko translating to child of hammer, yes, the son of Thor. It is said that Tsuchinokos are known to squawk like mouses, or mimic human conversations to lure cave splunkers near. Well, that's it for the iceberg. It's over. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this type of format. So if you did, I might actually do the Creepypasta iceberg like this. And that's it. If you dislike it, drop a dislike. Still helps me. Don't mind it. And leave a comment. My name is Lost Disciple, the voice box of the underground of YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
White Marvin Gaye, no Glock, no K. Treat my blunts like bullets, take one to the face. Outside in the rain, on the ground where they play. Trench coat, wind blowing, drops dripping down my face. I don't claim, I don't bang, feet up, sipping tang. Penthouse where I lay.